This is my bag. Thank you, Fredo from Canada. These are my shoes. Look at those. Aren't those way too thin for being outside in the freezing cold? Well, to be honest, yes. But not as cold as you think because of friction. They are made of a synthetic material. I'm not usually fond of synthetics, but it makes the friction create heat. So every time I move, they create a lot of heat, more heat than any other shoe I wore. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because today I'm going to tell you something that might create a little bit friction, because you might come from an opposing viewpoint, and I'm not sure if you are willing to learn. I'm not sure if you are willing to change based on new evidence. So that might create some healthy friction. Uh, Obviously, friction can be for something good. That's why I mention it. My name is Theo Flo. I'm at Steinbruvann, which is a first time out at this water. It's close to my home. It's very beautiful. By the way, I have to tell you this. About a week ago, I posted on Facebook about this girl who went out to the ice in the middle of nowhere and listened to the sounds of the ice breaking underneath the surface. And I stood here a moment ago and it sounded like a barrel was fell over and rolled. And I was like, what was that? And then afterwards it came this beautiful, almost electric, icy sound of the ice breaking all the way out on the water. It's an amazing phenomenon. And it's a beautiful thing to listen to. It's happened several times while I'm standing here. Maybe it happens during this video, who knows. I hope this mic, which I have here, can hear it. I don't think so. Anyway, go to a water and try it out in the winter time. So, friction. What can you expect from this video today? Intuition. What is your relationship with intuition? That was a sound from the ice. It's happening. Oh, anyway, intuition. What do you feel about intuition? Do you believe in intuition? Can you not believe in something that's a fact? I don't know. Some of you don't have a relationship with intuition, and you base your decisions purely on what those who you consider an authority tells you is the fact. So you go to science, you go to certain people, you go to whatever you consider an authority, your dad, your mom, whoever, yourself, hopefully. At the end of the day, I suggest you listen to yourself and make decisions based on your own intuition. But some people don't. They just listen to what authorities say and they follow that, and they think that everything is found in science. Hopefully, one day it will. And it's increasingly being discovered. But here's the point. If you're not in touch with your intuition, you are missing out, my friend. I suggest you look into it. It's a magical experience when you start to make decisions based on your intuition. And I'm not telling you not to gather information and understand and look into what other people think, because that's very valuable. But at the end of the day, I would highly, highly, highly encourage you to listen to your own intuition and make the decision based on that. I survived 3.5 years without doing anything significant about cancer. And people were telling me every year I went to a control, the doctor was like, if you don't do anything now, you're gonna die. And then the next year I went there and he said like, oh my God, if you're not doing anything now, you're gonna die. And the first time I got the message, they were like, if you don't do what we tell you, you're gonna die. And they told me this for 3 years. And 3.5 years into it, I made a decision that, hey, I'm kind of tired of this whole situation. So I'm gonna do chemo. And I did, and I became healthy. It felt right at the time. I waited until it felt right, and incredibly, it worked. So obviously, make health decisions based on my advice. I can't make that suggestion, by the way, because there are certain laws that says that something about a doctor can give health advice, but I can tell you about my story, and you make your own decision. I obviously would encourage anyone to make a decision based on their own intuition and how they feel, because that has worked for me, but at the end of the day, follow your own advice and gather information from sources you find reputable for you. And yeah, intuition. Let me tell you about some scientific findings when it comes to intuition. The ice is rumbling. It's amazing. I love the sound. Anyway, so have you watched the Discovery Science show called Through the Wormhole with Morgan Freeman? It started in 2011, 2012, I think, and it's an amazing show. It's if there was one episode I would recommend, check out season 2, episode 5 of Through the Wormhole with Morgan Freeman. Why should you check out that episode? Well, it's about intuition, and it's about how the scientific facts now prove that we have intuition that goes beyond our physical, apparatus. What you think is your physical apparatus, it's a vastly more intricate system than you think. If you think your body is your physical manifestation, your apparatus, you are encouraged to investigate further, because there is, how a phone works. There are invisible to us, to our eyes. We can't really see the communication that comes through vibrational information, as in radio frequencies, in all these different ways we transmit signals today. We can't see it, but it transmits information. In the same way, you have virtually tentacles that can feel and sense both the future and what's happening in the present. And this is proven through scientific studies. There's one study that is quite interesting. It's one of the basic studies that science today allows itself to refer to, where they check how people react and guess an image that is going to be flashed before their eyes. And through this process, they flash a whole bunch of different types of images, and the people are responding. I'm not sure if they're guessing or if there's a certain response they have, but anyway, what they measure, the result from that, and that is in the episode 5 of season 2 of Through the Wormhole, they found that when there was an erotic image, an image of sexual nature, people had a 54% chance of hitting the right guess. 54. That is more than half. And according to science, that is such a significant event because it's repeatable and it's a scientific anomaly. In every other case, they had an average score of around 50. So, but when it comes to sexual images, people are more adapted to see the future, to reveal what the next image will be. Why is your chance of guessing that higher? Well, what they say, they attribute it to evolution. And I think that's correct too, because we are evolving and we have evolved to reproduce. And one of the most important goals or meanings of life for this physical, biological body is to reproduce. So it makes sense that we actually have managed to become more intuitive when we can sense, when we can feel, when we can intuitively know that something that could be beneficial for our reproduction comes into our life. And that was repeatable. 4% over what would be expected. The response showed that we know before the image is shown. Also, there's another very interesting phenomena. Danger. What is interesting about danger? Well, danger is something that we have evolved to be very acute at observing. It's something that we're building through now, evolving spiritually and mentally and physically and emotionally past to not be that afraid anymore. But in nature, it has been very beneficial for us to know when danger is ahead. So when they had another study, they showed images, totally normal images, that wasn't really connected with any emotion, just basic images. And then they showed some images that were very, shocking, stirring up the emotions, kind of brutal, not very pleasant to look at. And they flashed these images very fast in front of the people they were testing. And what happened? Well, of course, the person emotionally responded. When they check the EGT, whatever it's called, when they measure brain waves, they could see that the person responded to those images way more than the other images. There was like a shock. But here is the interesting part. When did they respond? When do you respond? Did it happen when the image was flashed, or did it happen before? Do you get this? I mean, do you get the significance of this? This opens the door. They responded before the image displayed. The statistics showed, and there's checked for all faults and everything. It's basically a fact. you respond ahead of time before something happens to you. They would respond to an image that wasn't even shown. It hadn't been showed for them. They couldn't see it with their eyes, but they could feel it with their intuition and their emotional guidance system. Listen to Abraham-Hicks if you'd like to manage your emotional guidance system. So, this opens the door. If you can look beyond what is happening and intuitively know, just even if it's 4%, just even if it's like a fourth of a second before an image flashes before your eyes, if you can intuitively know that, the door is open. If you can learn how to play chess and you can move the first piece, guess what? You can become a Magnus Carlsen if you're made out to develop those abilities. If you have any interest in intuition and precognition and all of these magical events that are taking place right now, it's happening all the time and most of you don't even know it. Well, most of you probably know it because you're associated with me, and I'm only associating with people who know this stuff, who believe in magic, who knows what is possible. So this is possible. The door is open. So let's exercise our abilities, shall we? When you listen to historians, and those who are a little bit alternative, but they read the books of the past, they read about ancient cultures, they learn about what is written about the Atlantis civilization, they learn about what is written about the Egyptian rituals and what has happened in ancient Mayan dynasties, you know. What these people find is that many of these abilities seem to have been developed in the past by human beings. Where we left it, I have no idea. Why we're in this society where we're not developing our telepathy ability, I don't know. But we have certainly had that ability in a higher ability. We have had heightened abilities like that in the past. I'm almost certain of it. If you check the past and you search this up, you'll find a lot of evidence that suggests so. Telepathy, why did I mention telepathy? Is that proven? Well, yeah, check out season 2, episode 5 of Through the Wormhole on Discovery Science with Morgan Freeman. Because they show you that a person can here's the study. They put 2 people in different rooms apart from each other. They can't hear each other, they can't talk to each other. They can't even feel the body heat, most likely, from each other because there's such a wide area between them. And they have a magnetic field creator around their head. So both of these people are in the same magnetical field, the same frequency. And guess what happens? They have one person in one room having a light flash out of a sudden in the dark room. And the other person who is in the same magnetic field is in a dark room. But that person responds when the other person has a light shined on them and only them. Are you getting this? I mean, are you kidding me? If you don't know this now, you are so far behind. I'm telling you, you are a caveman living in today's society if you're not understanding the magic of your abilities and what is happening. This is an amazing universe. You virtually are a transmitter and receiver of energy, vibration, frequency. Listen to Kevin Trudeau, you wish to command, you'll understand all about it. But the fact is that science proves this. Science proves that you are actually a receiver of information, of what some people might call energy or frequency or vibration. The saying goes, we are energy vibrating at different frequencies. Everything is energy vibrating at different frequencies. I like that sentence. So anyway, I hope you felt some friction. I hope I moved some wheels inside of your being. I hope you feel like you are a freaking retard. And I say this so brutally. I love making jokes about that. But I honestly hope that you feel slightly retarded if you're not understanding any of this now. If you don't have the door open for understanding this, I'm sorry. You are not up to speed. You are not well educated. That's not a problem though, because you can educate yourself if you are humble and understand that you don't understand this stuff. you know, if you want to learn it, go learn it. If you don't, that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong. There's a whole bunch of people who'd like to think other thoughts than what I'm thinking, what we are thinking. There are people who are not interested in evolving our abilities when it comes to telepathy and transmitting energy and vibrations and understanding there's a collective field from the magnetics of Earth. We're in the same magnetic field, which is virtually an ether of information that we can transmit. It's proven through studies like the, what's it called? It's like a consciousness project where they measure the magnetic field around the Earth, and they could see how everyone on Earth responded before 9/11, for example. It's amazing, the studies that are on this subject. So, if you already are familiar with this type of thinking, if you are familiar with this knowledge, you're probably grinning and you're smiling and you're laughing because you feel me. You understand how ridiculous it is that people do not know this by now. I mean, there are actually people out there who do not know this. Now, if you watch this far, you know more about this. And you should be skeptical. You should question what I'm saying, question it, and find information that suits you. And investigate if you feel like it, or be in whatever culture you want to be, man. I support you, whatever you'd like to discover and evolve in your life. I'm just telling you, there's more to life than money, technology, and girls, whatever you want to call it. Wow, that was a very Jason Silva-like gesture. Anyway, although those things are fine. Oh wow, my mic fell off. So I guess that's a good sign that this video is about to end. With that, I wish you could hear the ice rumble. Yeah, with that, I encourage you to learn more about this. If you want to learn more about your innate abilities and what we as a human species are evolving into, and what we can accelerate just by putting our focus together on this thing, yeah, just comment. I mean, I'm interested in connecting with those of you who know what's possible, who are excited to understand how we can evolve it more. And you're basically limitless. You are understanding the vast potential, and you're always in support of people because you understand that everything is possible. You create your own reality. And if you create your own reality, other people are creating their reality, and you can support them wholeheartedly, unconditionally, with pure love. So have a great, wonderful, amazing insight and learn this. Goddamn, if you don't understand any of this by now, I will watch and feel compassion, and I will make fun of you until you understand. To be quite honest, it's time. It's honestly time. It's time to see that we're on the same collective page. We are on the same Earth, we're in the same magnetic field, and there's something called the Schumann resonance, the Schumann frequency, which has been doing a lot of interesting things lately. There's a magnetic field of Earth, we're all connected to it, and we are communicating with each other through it, through what you may call telepathy. It's a proven fact, it's happening right now. If you don't know it, go to bed, wake up, and start your new life with the knowledge that you've just been exposed to. Good night.